computer. Good afternoon. It's Lisa here, Regional Director of the Athena Network in East and Mid Sussex. And I'm having another chat with one of my members today. And I'm really, really excited to talk to Denyse Whillier, who runs a company called Built to Succeed. And Denyse is a business consultant and is a member at one of our Hove Group. Has been an Athena member for a couple of years and now going into her third. So Denyse, it's really lovely to see you today.
Hi there.
I just wondered whether you would share with us a bit more about your business. Tell us what you do.
So like you said, I'm a business consultant and I specialise in working with female founders, and there's sort of like a particular reason for that, which we can get into in a moment. And I'm very interested in working with businesses that want to make a difference in the world, want to kind of leave the world a better place. And I kind of interpret that very broadly. And the reason I particularly specialise in working with female founders, there's a couple of reasons. One is that my own personal journey, I was a CEO for 8 years and didn't realise at the time just how few women in leadership positions at that level there were. And so that's, it turns out that it's pretty unique to have got to that level.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important, this sort of idea of if you can't see it, you can't be it.
Yes.
And so this kind of idea of giving back, basically, and kind of being a role model to people. And then more recently, since the publication of the Alison Rose report, which is probably the first piece of really serious research about female entrepreneurship in the UK.
Yeah.
When I read that, I was just absolutely aghast at how at every stage of the business journey, from startup through to scale up, there are barriers for women. And once they've got to the point of scale up in their business, then the female-led businesses really, really fly. But getting there is really, really difficult. And that reading that made me really cross, basically.
Yeah.
And kind of like wanting to do something about levelling the playing field, and having been on that journey myself. And having some idea of what it's like to scale and grow a business, then it just kind of made sense, really made sense to me. And then obviously since the pandemic's hit, I've just got crosser and crosser about this female founders, because the sectors that have been most adversely affected are predominantly sectors which are mainly female entrepreneurs. And also if you were struggling before, and at the sort of, like I said, at the different stages of the business journey, you then add in the pandemic and everything that goes with it.
Yep.
And it's it's just made it massively harder for female businesses. So that's kind of where I very much focus. But I'm also, like I said, very interested in business for good as well. So I'm very interested in how we bring what's called people and planet into the way we run our businesses, because I don't in the slightest bit buy it that you can't run an ethical, profitable business and not take care of your people and not take care of your planet. And actually all the research and evidence points to the fact that the most successful businesses are those with the highest levels of integrity and ethics.
Yeah.
And also, I think what we've seen very recently is changing customer behaviour as well, and then people are a lot more conscious about how they spend their money.
Yeah.
And about how do they make their money count in their sort of decision making. So I think any businesses that are focused in those areas they're going to do they're going to be the future of business going forward.
Yeah. And you really want to work with that. I mean, we've talked about your ideal client obviously being a female or a woman-led business.
Yeah.
Are there any particular industry sectors that you like to work with, or do you work across the board with these type of companies?
So I work across the board with a variety of different types of businesses. My own experience has sort of taken me into different sectors, so I've got that. I've got quite a variety of experience myself anyway.
Yeah.
And then my clients have come from a very broad range of sectors, and I mean there are some sectors that I think I would definitely avoid because I wouldn't have the technical knowledge to be able to help businesses scale in those areas. So very technical, technological businesses, manufacturing, those kind of areas is like, that's not my skill set. But aside from that, pretty much across the board, I do like to work with businesses with a retail component to them, because you can have so much fun with the marketing. And start to kind of like create some really, really interesting marketing campaigns, and kind of bring in a kind of seasonal element to the way in which you're marketing, which keeps things sort of lively and interesting and fresh. So that's so if there's an opportunity to be creative in the way in which you bring the brand into the world, that's always my happy spot.
Well, that's interesting, because that brings me on to my next question is, why do you love what you do? And I think you've sort of hinted at that in the answer to the previous question. So why is it you love it?
For a variety of reasons. So I very much enjoy working with people and helping people to realize their goals and ambitions. That's something that really gets me excited, and seeing people hit their goals, achieve things that they didn't think were possible, that like I said, really thrills me. So I guess that's probably one of my number one motivators. But also because I think that there's an opportunity for business to play a really, really big part in solving the sort of problems that we see in the world, to create really good paying jobs, and jobs that people find satisfying and fulfilling and motivating. So kind of that's also a motivator for me. And on a personal level, I love learning new things, and there's always something new to learn when it comes to business and leadership. So so it always keeps me personally very interested and kind of very engaged.
And constantly growing yourself, which is part of being an entrepreneur and running your own business, isn't it, really?
I'm naturally very curious, and I don't like to be bored.
I don't think any of us do. I'm going to ask you a question, and I know that we didn't talk about this first, but business consultant as opposed to business coach. What do you see the differences between a business coach and a business consultant? I think that's quite interesting to try and understand the difference.
There's several reasons why I use that specifically as a title. So my focus is about the business and about helping a founder get the business from where it is now to where they want it to be. So that's all about the kind of the strategy and the kind of planning and organisation and those kind of key decisions in sort of finance, HR, marketing, and so on that go with it. So that's kind of what I see consultancy as being about. But obviously I'm working with people, and we all know that running a business can be a real slog. It's not the easiest way to earn your living by any stretch of the imagination. And so there's always a coaching or mentoring element to what I do, because we all have ups and downs. We all have sort of different things that motivate us, and we all need to be encouraged in very different ways. So I think kind of coaching comes into it, but the term business coach has been commissioned by a lot of people who don't have business experience.
Yes.
Have never run a business before in their life.
Yeah.
And I don't personally want to be in that bracket.
Yeah. And I think that's really, really great for you to clarify that, because I think it's really important that there is clarity. Because I think, as you say, sometimes when you hear the word business coach, you think it's going to be somebody that's going to tell you how to do your marketing. Maybe that's just one element of it, but yours is a much higher level and a strategy piece.
Yeah, because my skill set means that I look at a business as a whole.
Yes.
And what's going on with the business as a whole, and I'm looking for understanding a bit, I suppose, a bit like a doctor, sort of like diagnosing the business, and I'm looking for what's going to get us some quick wins quickly.
Yes.
And quick wins usually means sales and money in the bank.
Yeah.
But I'm also thinking about, are there some other issues that are going to be important to address going forward, but perhaps the business doesn't have the money at the moment, but that is going to need to be sorted out quite quickly. So that might be the owner's very stretched and we'll need to bring in somebody to help take the load quite quickly. Yeah. It may be that their brand isn't strong enough for where they want to take the business, and there needs to be a piece of brand strategy work done. It could be any any kind of number of areas. So kind of because I have this kind of holistic view of a business, I'm able to look and see very quickly what needs to be done first for maximum impact and what can be put to one side and picked up at a later point. Yeah. So that's the kind of benefit of my experience, and I've had to be strong in all aspects.
Yeah, fantastic. That's
not be strong in any one area.
One particular area. No, that's really helpful. I think that gives a really great explanation of your skill set and what you can do for people. So if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
So they connect. There's obviously my website, which is www.denysewhillier.com, and that has a contact form in it. So that anybody contacts me, it comes straight through to my email. So that's probably the most straightforward. I like hanging out on Instagram. Mm-hmm. So Instagram, you can direct message me on Instagram. That would be a really good way of getting in contact with me. I'm also quite reasonably active on LinkedIn as well, but I don't tend to accept requests from people to connect that I don't know.
Yeah. Best way is to if they want to have that conversation, or personal conversation, is to go through either direct message on Instagram or to go through the website.
Yeah.
And you do. I experienced this a couple of weeks ago, actually. On a Friday afternoon, you've started a new thing. Am I right in calling it Business Reset?
Yeah, the weekly Business Reset.
Yeah. And a really nice opportunity to work on your business, but with other people around you. And for me, it really helped, because it was Friday afternoon. I just had that an hour with you and the other ladies that were there as well, where we worked on our business. We had a bit of a chat at the beginning and chat at the end. And it was sort of that quiet time, but with some support there. So that you can find the link to that on your website.
Yeah, so again, that's on my website, and I've got a page called the Weekly Reset, and so you can just get in contact with me through that page, and then I'll send a link so that you can join with us. And like you say, it's an hour on a Friday afternoon at 2:30, which I kind of thought was a kind of
time, because you can almost use it as an excuse.
Yeah, and it's just to use to spend an hour working on your business, something that you want to get done, that leaves you feeling like you've finished the week on a good note, on a positive note, and also an opportunity to kind of bring together other female business owners as well, and just have that kind of little bit of camaraderie as well.
Yes, it's really nice just to have that connection with some other people, and it's a little bit of networking, isn't it, really?
Absolutely, yeah. And there's just something also about the time where you get more done.
Yeah,
in that
focus, isn't it?
Yeah, is like I find I get twice as much done as I would do ordinarily. It's very strange, but
it works.
It works. So yeah.
So as I said at the beginning of this conversation, you've been an Athena lady now for a couple of years, coming into your third year.
Yeah.
Tell me just in a few words, what's been the best thing about being an Athena member, or how do you feel that Athena has helped you either professionally or personally?
I think one of the key things I really like about the network are the people in it. I think that's very much the thing that draws me in, and that what I like about it is that it's very relational.
Yes.
So that I go to other there's other networking organisations I'm a member of, and I would say that Athena is the most relational of all of the groups that I go to, and that means that kind of genuine relationships and friendships then form outside of the main meetings as well. So I think those are the things that I particularly appreciate about Athena.
Yeah, fantastic. That's great. Well, it's been really lovely chatting with you today, and I will look forward to seeing you at the next Athena meeting that we have in Hove, I think in a couple of weeks' time. Thank you so much for sharing a bit more about you, what you do, the businesses that you help and work with, and I hope to see you soon.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity, Lisa.